Welcome back. This video is going to look at all of the factions that we know about in Starfield so far. Yes, all. That means even one that nobody has mentioned. But real quick, just want to let you know I'm going to be changing the logo on my YouTube channel, so you will see that change here over the next week or two. Also, you're going to want to stay till the end because I have a special treat for you, especially if you're interested in the space magic. Now, in starting out, I know Constellation is considered a faction in the game. I kind of don't consider it a faction all that much, mostly because we don't really have a choice if we join it or not. We're gonna kind of be forced into it as the main story of the game revolves around the story of us and Constellation problem solving the artifacts. So I'm gonna skip Constellation and let's talk about the next one we'll probably come across, which will be the United Colonies. They will also be located in the city of New Atlantis, and they just might be the largest faction in Starfield. The United Colonies will have the largest military presence in the settled systems and see itself as the ideal government and political force in Starfield. I definitely get some of the Empire from Star Wars vibes with the United Colonies. Now, the game will take place in 2330, but about 20 years before that, United Colonies was actually in a war that was called the Colony Wars. They are currently at peace, but Bethesda has dropped some hints that it might not last. And who was the United Colonies at war with? Well, it was the Freestar Collective. The Freestar Collective seems to be another major faction in the game and are a confederation of 3 star systems that have been united by their belief in the sanctity of personal freedom and individuality. The capital of the Freestar Collective is going to be located in Aquila City, which is going to be surrounded by walls to protect it from hostile creatures such as the Ashta. Now, I definitely get some vibes of Red Dead Redemption 2 when I look at Aquila City, but in space. So I really liked what they did here with the vibe, and I just might be hanging out here quite a bit. Another major faction you're most likely going to come across quite a bit is a group called the Crimson Fleet. The Crimson Fleet seems to be like your futuristic mob type of organization, as you can join them, but they have made it very clear the only way to get out is by death. The Crimson Fleet's main base of operation seems to be in the Crix system in an old United Colonies space station called the Key. I actually think if you followed along the story, you would eventually come to the Crimson Fleet and they would actually give you a tutorial on how to dock and take over other ships. So I am really looking forward to that. The next 2 factions are more of businesses, but they're both located on the city of Neon.
Ryujin is hiring the best and brightest of today for our future tomorrow.
So we don't know that much about Ryujin Industries, but we have heard some of the devs talk about having to apply for jobs and working their way up the corporate ladder. The Xenofresh Corporation is also going to be located on the city of Neon and is actually the organization that actually built Neon in the first place. They originally built Neon as a fishing platform, but discovered the fish that they were catching had psychotropic qualities. So they started manufacturing and selling a drug called Aurora that is only legal on Neon. Next up, we have the Ecliptic Mercenaries, who appear to be heavily armored, very nice, sleek, all black type of gear. So definitely could be private military mercenaries, kind of makes sense here. But other than that, not too much is known about the Ecliptic Mercenaries. Another faction I'm going to be really interested in figuring out more about is the Red Mile. They will be located in the Parima system on Parima 3. Going to be interested to see if the Red Mile is more than just the name of this faction, but maybe even an initiation ritual. Another thing that's interesting is if you zoom in on the consoles, they appear to have some mini games of blackjack. So hopefully we have more than just blackjack to play in their little mini casino. We also have the Violent Spacers, who we've seen pop up pretty regularly. Doesn't seem like they're a major threat, just a normal faction around to keep you off balance. But speaking of Spacers, did you notice anything strange about this ship? The name of the ship is Trader Highlander, which is kind of interesting because every ship that we've seen or enemy that we've seen is led by their faction name and the kind of enemy they are within that faction. And if you look down at the 3rd dialogue choice, it says, "What's the Trade Authority?" So now we know about another faction in the game called the Trade Authority. So let me know if you spotted this Trade Authority faction. Another faction is House Varun. And to be perfectly honest, we don't know too much about them other than the fact that they are religious zealots. And the last 2 I'm going to talk about here real briefly are two that we actually haven't seen in the game, but we've gotten some short clips while looking at traits talking about different religions. We have the Sanctum Universum, and then we also have Enlightened. And both of those come from the Raised Universal trait and the Raised Enlightened trait. So there you go, that's a real brief rundown of all the factions or supposed factions that we know about in Starfield, with one that I'd imagine many people haven't spotted quite yet. Now, if you're interested in this scene, with space magic, as many people are referencing it, then my next video you will be very interested in, as I think I have figured that out. So if I missed something, let me know. Alrighty, take care.